This is only question number 2, so we know it's supposed to be very easy, but kind of like question number 1, it's very easy to make a mistake. So we need to do everything we can to avoid the trap, right? So that means we need to show our work. And I know that you think you're good at algebra, but first of all, no one is as good as they think they are. And second of all, the test is specifically designed to trick us with algebra, so we have to just do every single thing we can to avoid those tricks and traps. So in this case, we need to know, hopefully we can see what the trap is right away. It's that this question involves distribution, and there's this negative outside of those parentheses that's going to need to get distributed. So if this is already sounding like gibberish to you, just hold on, I'm going to show you another way to do it at the end. But the first thing that we should do is show our distribution. Show that that negative is going to be applied to both parts, so that way we have some sort of way of kind of like keeping control of the situation. Now the first set of parentheses don't matter because there's nothing outside of it that needs to be distributed into it, right? It's just kind of at the beginning, it's just for show. So x squared minus 3 can just pop out. And now we do the distribution. Negative times negative 3x squared, it's kind of like negative 1 times negative 3x squared, that's going to be a positive 3x squared. And then the most important part, negative times positive 5, negative 1 times positive 5 is negative 5. So it flips the sign of both pieces. And now we can combine like terms, right? X squared and 3x squared is 4x squared. And negative 3 and negative 5 is negative 8. 4x squared minus 8 is our answer. And that only took us a couple of seconds, but it would have taken us just as long if we made the mistake. So here's the thing. If you are watching this video because you made this mistake, I strongly advise you to be honest with yourself about your algebra ability. If this negative that I distributed slipped by you, you're not good at algebra. I hate to break it to you, but that's okay because on the SAT we can use strategies like arithmetize to deal with it. All right? What is the advantage of arithmetizing? Well, it's going to make the distribution go away. And so we are more likely to notice the negative and use it correctly when instead of dealing with letters, we have numbers. So let's start with an easy number, right? X equals 0 would be the simplest substitution to make here. And since I'm never told that I need to solve for x, we can see x is just a placeholder. It stays with us throughout the process. It's in the beginning, it's in the answer choices. And so because it's a placeholder, we can make it disappear and see what's happening with numbers instead of the variables. So if we made x equal to 0, that's really simple. That makes both of these x pieces go away. So what do we have? We really have 0 minus 3 minus 0 plus 5. So that's negative 3 minus 5, which is negative 8. Now if we plugged 0 into the original, we need to plug it into the answer choices, which are supposed to be equivalent as well. And so when we do that, it's going to make all of these first terms disappear just like it did in the question, right? Because 0 squared is 0, times 4 is 0, times negative 2 is 0. So the only thing that we then look at is the last piece. Now in this case, though, we can see we want the last piece to be negative 8. And there are two choices where that happens. So this is a good example where arithmetize doesn't work perfectly the first time. But I don't care. I still picked a really easy number and got down to a 50-50 shot really quickly. And then the second step would just be to pick the next easiest number and try it in the two choices that are left. So if I switched to 1, now my original equation is 1 squared minus 3 minus negative 3 times 1 squared plus 5. Well, 1 squared is 1. And then 1 squared is 1 times negative 3 is just negative 3 plus 5. And notice it still looks like we need to distribute, but we don't. Because unlike the original expression, we can combine the stuff in the parentheses. So we can do this without having to distribute because 1 minus 3 is just negative 2. And negative 3 plus 5 is just positive 2. So now negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. That's our magic number. And now when we go to the answer choices, we only need to try it in A and C, and we're looking for that negative 4. So 4 times 1 now, minus 8, is 4 minus 8, which is negative 4. Check. Let's try C. Negative 2 times 1 squared minus 8. 1 squared is 1 times negative 2 is negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10, which is wrong. And that gets me to A, which is what I knew it was before, but there you go. Now that arithmetized method is absolutely longer. But if you're not good at algebra and you got this algebra wrong, then I want you to take the time, use the strategy, and guarantee yourself the points, because rushing down to those hard questions at the end is not going to help your score. Because you're going to get, if you're bad at algebra here, you're going to be bad at algebra there, and it's going to be even worse. So I'd rather you slow down, take the time, and get these points locked in. And then when you consistently can get this stuff right, now you'll have more time to work on some of the harder stuff. But you can't throw these points overboard. This is too important for everyone's score. So you got to find whatever way is going to guarantee you these points. If it's very neat, careful algebra, great. But if it's the strategy that you need, then don't be ashamed. Do it, get the points, and get the score that you really need, because you gotta get this. You gotta get this question right.